Because you also work as a, I guess, a personal coach. Is that how you'd, as well as?
I do, and I do, and I do that less now. And I've actually more trained up other people to do that. But I have a lot of experience in coaching, long-term experience in coaching people in that transformation process. Working with hundreds of people, individuals for 3 to 4 years, helping them transfer from that survival orientation into what is truly an evolved, heart-driven orientation.
Okay. Well, let's go back a little bit, your personal journey as to kind of where you started in the world and led up to, I guess, The Magician's Way, the book. You were born in Swaziland?
Yes, I was.
And I think you said that your dad was a farmer.
He was,
And
yeah.
he
He was a
worked with-
hunter and a farmer.
And he
Yeah.
worked with virgin land, like it had not been touched.
Absolutely,
Could
yeah.
you share a little bit about, because you saw some stuff as a child that children really shouldn't be seeing. Would that be true?
Well, I think I saw a lot of things that children should be seeing,
Yeah.
Because I saw, having grown up in a very wild, pristine part of the world that had been untouched for millions of years by any sort of Western civilization. Anyway, it was a magical world full of wonder. It was like the Garden of Eden. That could eat you at any time. I mean, we had things in our garden or sometimes had things in our garden that needed to be shot or chased away, because they'd eat you.
Like?
Well, leopards, lions, hyenas, pythons. We used to find 30-foot pythons in our garden, and there's a river just below our garden, and if you went anywhere near it, if you were just on the bank, 5 meters up the bank, something would come flying out of the water and eat you. But, there are many things. The Africans were wonderful people. In those days, they themselves, the indigenous people, the people native to that area, were also untouched as well, and living as they had for thousands of years. For my first years, I never saw people in clothes. People wore skins and loincloths and whatever, and also people that were in incredible innocence, that had incredible heart, and so that lived their lives in awe of the world. They were constantly in innocence and had this awe of life and fascination of life. They never grew tired of it and bored of it. They weren't busy getting something together. They were just busy, imbued in the wonder of nature themselves, and transferred that to me. So there was a lot that was conducive to that childhood wonder, but also there was there are a lot of negative aspects as well that I grew up with, which were colonialism, the whole Uhuru thing that swept through Africa, the revolution, the bloodshed, which I was, witness to.
I mean, how old would you have been to have, I hear absolutely what you're saying about the most amazing childhood on that Garden of Eden side. And yeah, you're right. I think every child needs to. I mean, how blessed would you be? But you saw stuff that in Australia we couldn't even imagine seeing growing up.
Yeah, I don't hear many Australians telling me similar stories of their childhood. And when I was about 5 and 6, that it was a lot tamer in the country I grew up in, but it did arrive there. The whole. If you know what Uhuru thing was, the Black Revolution, the African Revolution against colonialism, and so it was when your gardeners and cooks were killing you, and that was the deal. In fact, they didn't kill you; they killed neighbors because they loved you, and they couldn't bring themselves to do that, so they'd kill the neighbors, the neighboring boss, and the neighboring workers would kill you. That was kind of the deal, and so the British Army came in, and I saw some pretty savage things, and saw people being shot, and really bloody scenes, and witnessed riots where machine guns were opened up on crowds, and in one incident, even a crowd that was being shot at. I was up in a lychee tree eating lychees, and I was like leaning out of the lychee tree to see what happened. So I went too far out, and the limb I was on broke. So I crashed to the ground just as this horde started running through our garden. And I thought they had seen me and were coming to get me. And I was trying to make it to the door, and they were just all trampling me to get away from the gunfire. And I was quite amazed that I was still lying there when the last of them had fled, you know, and that, yeah, so anyway.
It's just...
Saw a lot of stuff go down.
Can't even imagine it. We'll take a break.
Families murdered, whatever.
Yeah, we'll take a break and come back and hear a little bit more about a lifestyle in Australia we can't even imagine. Be back with you soon.